Hello, everyone who is joining us. So we are just going to give everyone a few minutes to hop online at the start of the hour here. If you want to introduce yourself in the chat, let us know your name and maybe where you're joining from. I know that our invite list was pretty global, so I'm curious what time zones that we're covering today. I'll kick it off. I'm Tila. I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And one housekeeping piece that when you are adding to the chat, make sure that you change the to everyone instead of just hosts and panelists so that all can see you.
I make that mistake all the time, Tila.
Me as well. Yeah, despite years of using Zoom, I still send it just to hosts and panelists. Yeah. Hello, we have folks joining from Colorado, from Ohio, Jacqueline from Stamp from Toronto. We have New Brunswick, Canada. John, you're in Chicago. Amazing. Hi, everyone. To those who have just joined, we're just waiting another minute or two before we start so that everyone who registered can hop on. Oh, we have someone from Germany. Hello, Bruno from Germany. Marika in Ontario. Dominica from Italy. I want to go to Italy. I'll need to come and visit you. Leilani from Vancouver. Hello, fellow neighbor.
All the way from Verona. Now I'm envious.
Someone from Hawaii as well. Could use a Hawaiian vacation. From Mexico, Colorado. I love it. We have global representation of e-com brands here. So with that, let's kick it off. Let's get started. We have an hour together today to talk about all things retention marketing. We're going to talk about e-commerce stickiness strategies. I'll kick it off with some introductions so you know who we are. So I'm Tila. I'm the partner and product marketer here at Stamped. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm going to kick it off with a land acknowledgement. Even though we are virtual, I want to acknowledge that I'm joining you today from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. And I'm joined by my good friend John from Tapcart. John is a senior partner manager. His pronouns are he, him. John, anything you want to say to kick off our webinar today?
Thanks for the intro. I appreciate it. Really happy to be here today. This is a very hot button topic for many brands. So we're excited to hopefully have a great conversation. I think my biggest thing is please feel free to interrupt us if you have questions. Your questions are probably similarly felt by other brands. So feel free to do so. We'd be happy to answer those throughout the presentation.
Awesome. So what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to talk a little bit about what is brand stickiness, go over a basic e-commerce funnel, and then talk about optimizing what that funnel could look like. So I'm going to dig into some tactics that we've learned from customers over the past few months that I want to share with you so you have something actionable that you can take out and test out over the next couple months leading up to the holiday season, and talk about things all across the funnel. So we'll do some top of funnel work, some middle of funnel work, some bottom of funnel work. Then John is going to hop in and talk about all things mobile engagement. Tapcart is a mobile e-commerce app building software, and we will talk about how you can take something challenging like mobile and make it really simple and really profitable for your business. So a few pieces of housekeeping. We do have our wonderful colleague, Kristen. She's a customer success manager here at Stamped, manning the chat. So if you have questions, add them in there as we're going. We're also going to run a Q&A at the end. If you have questions that you want to dive into a little deeper, feel free to save them until then. We are recording today, so if you need to hop off, we will send you the recording in a follow-up email. And we'll share any resources that we talk about today in that follow-up too. So hoping for this to be a really valuable session. So let's hop in, dive right into it. What is Stamped? For those of you that haven't heard of Stamped before, we are a reviews and loyalty platform for e-commerce brands. We work with 75,000 brands to date to improve their on-site, their channel conversions using reviews, and then to keep those customers back to really focus in on their retention marketing strategy with loyalty. And if we think about what is e-commerce stickiness, I think this is something that I've heard across the board lately is this term stickiness. And it's a bit of this like hot word or trending word. What it really means is retention marketing. Customer stickiness is when a customer stays with your brand after their first purchase. So the more people stay with your brand or stick to your brand, the more sticky that you could imagine your brand is. It's a phase that, or a phrase that can feel really ephemeral, but it's actually really measurable and trackable. And what I've put on the screen, if you want to grab a screenshot, but we'll also share afterwards, are some of those metrics that you can measure your own stickiness. So if we're thinking about what is retention marketing or what is stickiness, it is the strategies that you put into place to improve your customer lifetime value, your customer retention rate. How many people are coming to your brand once, twice, three times? How many people are becoming subscribers? And retention marketing has been around since the dawn of e-commerce, but it's become really important over the past year because we're essentially in kind of this like flat state. We're seeing growth be really challenging for different brands because we've had this dip in the economy. We're seeing ad prices go up way more, and a lot of buying behaviors are changing as people move to shopping back in person, or they're spending less because of this economic trend that we're in right now. So where we're at Stamped is we're having a lot of conversations with customers who are interested in kind of nurturing that middle of funnel, bottom of funnel group of customers to help them to retain and to continue purchasing. So we're going to give you some tactics for that today, but here are some of the ways that you can measure your own stickiness to kind of get a touch point of where you're at, or you can benchmark your own data. So I want you to start with looking at your traffic conversion rate. This is looking at your website as a whole and thinking about how many people visit your site compared to how many people convert. So how many people end up buying an item. On average for e-commerce, you should expect to see this rate be between 1 to 4%. It's a little bit lower than like everything all together, but it's because the e-commerce space is so competitive. So then I want you to go one layer deeper and to break this down by product pages. You already know what your highest converting products are, but what does your traffic look like for someone who lands just on your main landing page, moves into that high converting product, and then ultimately makes a purchase or converts as well? What we're seeing is that for people with those really high converting rates on those traffic pages, that reviews are actually a component of that. You're probably going to look through those and see, for my pages that are driving a lot, I might have reviews embedded on those. The next step that I want you to look at is all of your customers from the last year who made one purchase and how many people made more than one purchase. So these are your single conversions versus your retained customers or your customer retention rate. And what you're often going to find, if you look at these two groups of customers and then you look at their average order value, oftentimes your single purchase customers have a lower average order value than your multiple purchase customers. So this is kind of a trend in subscriptions or a trend in multiple purchases and consumable goods, that people who have a stronger relationship with you end up spending more over time. And I'm super curious if any of you go home and do this analysis. Let us know afterwards. Very curious. The final step when you're looking at your metrics and thinking about your own stickiness is to look at your customer lifetime value and then compare that to your customer acquisition cost. So customer acquisition cost, very simple, everything you spent on marketing in the past 12 months compared to how many customers that you acquired in the past 12 months. And your customer lifetime value is your customer value. So I have 100 customers and they each spend $1,000 times their average customer lifespan. And your overall goal when you're starting to think about these stickiness tactics is how can you bring these numbers down? You want to use higher quality, lower cost tactics across your whole funnel to improve your conversion rate. So you want people to land on pages and convert quicker and more frequently. And then you want to focus on meaningful engagements to be kind of improving that customer lifetime value, improving the traffic conversion rate. It's basically less of a funnel and more of a flywheel. So let's dig into what an average e-commerce funnel could look like for you. So this is a really standard e-commerce funnel. You'll see this all across Shopify. Funnels are the steps that customers go through when they're making a purchasing decision. They're called funnels because you have drop-off rates in between each of those different steps. So at the top of your funnel are going to be your ads. This is your social, your Google, your LinkedIn, your mobile, and then you're pushing from ad to your website or to your mobile experience if you're using mobile. And at this point, what you're doing is nurturing your customers towards making a purchase. And that might be through social proof. It might be through great brand copy, through great imagery. whatever those strategies that you are to move from product view to add to cart to checkout and finally to purchase. And where in the past we've seen a lot of brands focus in on is just this traditional funnel that we're looking at. So once we hit purchase, then we just kind of move through the funnel again. We're missing that kind of long tail campaign that would drive to something that is a highly retained or highly engaged customer. And the reason for that is rooted in ad cost. For a lot of brands, and if you're here, you are involved with an e-commerce brand, you know that cost of ads have been rising. Since 2022, we've seen Facebook ads increase by 89%, TikTok ads by 92%, Google and YouTube by 108%. So your cost of that very top of funnel action is increasing, but your conversion rates a lot of the time are staying the same because it's not that you're spending more to get more, you're spending more for the same amount of things. So what we want to recommend is if you're looking at this traditional funnel of starting with an ad, so let's imagine this is an Instagram ad pushing to a landing page, pushing to a product display page. This is what it really looks like for most stores right now. So we go ad, landing page, kind of organic discovery all the way to that product page. And you've probably done this journey yourself as a customer. Think about the last thing that you bought online and how you landed there. Maybe you Googled, what did I most recently buy? I bought some new bones for my dog. So I Googled like healthy dog bones, Canada. Googled it, found the first result, clicked on it, explored a few different brands, ultimately landed on a product page. But what would be more useful is if when I click on that top ad, I actually just land right on something called a pre-sale page. And pre-sale pages are a tactic that you should really consider implementing before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and tying to all of your ads. So what a pre-sale page is it's a standard product page with a little bit more content embedded on it. It's a bit of like a marketing page and a traditional product page. And what your goal here with this type of funnel will be is to push from ad directly to pre-sale page. And that will ultimately drive more conversions. What you want included on this pre-sale page are product imageries. So you want really great brand photographs, videos, you want great product copy as well. And then you want social proof. For a lot of people, this pre-sale page will be their first interaction with your brand. So think of it as like, this is my best representation of brand and product. And with that, I'm going to embed reviews amongst it too. So we know that embedding a stamped review on a product page can increase conversion by 4 times. So what we want you to consider is putting photo reviews, video reviews, and the stamped Instagram carousel on your pre-sale pages to make the purchasing decision easier for customers. If you think of how you're interacting with different types of content online, we all know this, like organic content performs a lot better. So leverage that content that you are already collecting and turn it into a bit of a sales strategy. Our next tactic that we'll go through is actually about different ways to improve that quality of content, but we'll stick with this for now. So the reason that we're really recommending this tactic is because it improves the conversion rate of those ads using some like strategies and psychology tactics to reduce kind of that cognitive load for a customer and to drive a better experience. So most customers want support when they're making a buying decision. E-commerce often starts with research, it starts with engaging with ads, and people can sometimes get overwhelmed with the volume of options available to them. So reviews kind of step in and become that like recommendation from a friend, right? Is, oh, this person says they have the same skin type as me, they're the same height as me, maybe this product will work for me too. It kind of acts as a support to making that buying decision. The other kind of psychology methodology that you're leveraging here is that idea of cognitive load in simplicity. This funnel is really focused on improving the experience for your customers and guiding them towards a purchase as opposed to letting them organically explore and make a purchase eventually. So what this will become for you is a differentiator. Compared to your competitors, it's easier for customers to find the information that they're looking for, easier to find the product that they're looking for that will work for them. And the ultimate outcome of that when we're thinking about that stickiness factor is, yes, this improves conversion rates, but it also improves retention rates because customers who have really good experiences are more likely to make purchases in a follow-up. They're also more likely to become brand advocates. So if you end up launching something like a referral program, this is the type of customer that you could nurture into that referral program eventually. Basically, nobody likes a buying journey that isn't clear, and simplicity aids purchase decisions. So that's our first tactic. The next tactic that I want to show you is from our friends at Kitsch. So Kitsch are a global beauty brand. We've been working with them for years. They use Stamped for both reviews and for loyalty. And we're going to dig into two of their different tactics. So we'll look at reviews and look at loyalty. And this is an example of some of their product reviews. You can see it just down here at the bottom. This is one of their most popular products, and this is a screenshot of the product display page for it. So Kitsch really focuses on increasing the quality of their reviews and increasing the volume of photo and video reviews that they're collecting. They are a brand that is really heavily rooted in social media, which requires a lot of product imagery, a lot of user generated content. And so their focus with increasing those reviews is to actually tie the reviews to their loyalty program. So if a customer is to submit a photo review, they actually receive a coupon towards a future purchase. So it increases those photo reviews that you're collecting, and it also increases the participation in the loyalty program. It's kind of like a two-way reward. The second tactic that you can think about implementing is one that we've been talking with a large amount of brands lately too, and it's to consider something called a review request sequence. So I'm curious, for those of you that are sending reviews, how many review requests do you have in your sequence? Put it in the chat. So how many times are you emailing your customers asking for a review? We have 3, we have 2, we have 1. We have 1, 2, twice. This is a super easy win for you. I'm going to recommend that all of you bump this up to 3 at least. Kitsch does 4, so they send their first one 14 days after fulfillment. You want to make sure that you are allowing your customers time to experience the product, maybe to take that photo review with it. And you want to check in with them more than once. Really, how many emails do you get in a day, and what's the likelihood that you actually open it? If you're sending more than one and you're offering rewards or incentives to people for actually leaving that review, you're going to increase the amount of reviews that you're ultimately collecting. So all of you who said 1 or 2, make it 3. For that one person that said 3, I'm going to challenge you, try 4 and see what that does for your review conversion rate. The strategy for Kitsch, it resulted in them getting over 100,000 verified product reviews. So that's step 1. You want to collect more reviews, but the next step is to showcase them in the correct places. So we talked about this on the PDP page, or on our pre-sale page, of where you should embed your reviews. Kitsch is a really unique brand in that they put them everywhere on their site where there is a product. So if you go and look at their homepage after this webinar, you'll see that all of their products on their homepage that are above the fold actually have ratings directly below them. This kind of triggers that social proof mentality across the site. It feels like you have a friend shopping with you, basically, or like you're having some support in making those buying decisions. And then when you look at their product pages, they've actually embedded kind of the branding imagery and the widgets that they're using to look like a natural extension of their own product imagery. So you can see here, we have the product imagery up at the top. You can scroll through it. We have another image here, and then at the very top of all of their product displays, they have a photo and a video review widget installed here. And this allows customers who are interested in looking at those pictures to continue that exploration journey without having to scroll a ton, or without having to look for them too. So you're kind of reducing that cognitive load again. And then the final touch in this strategy is to consider using product groupings. So we call this custom grouping at Stamped. And this is really handy if you have a product set that has a variety of overlap. So let me give you an explanation of how Kitsch is leveraging this to improve their reviews and to use reviews to improve that conversion. They really recently, you'll see this when you hop on their website, they launched a limited edition product line to celebrate the new Barbie movie. And they have different versions of their products that are branded with the new Barbie movie iconography or colors. They're the same products. So one of their most popular ones is a silk pillowcase, which I have and I love, but it's branded with different Barbie colors too. And you'd think oftentimes when you launch a new product, you don't yet have reviews. Because this is the same as their previous products, just a different color or with different branding, they're able to actually group the reviews of all of those silk pillowcases together. So the new product already has 10,000 plus reviews on it. It's a way for you to bring social proof to new products and to showcase that on your site. The overall outcome for them has been a 4.6% conversion lift when they're using this strategy for different product pages. Jake, I saw you asked, where do I get up? Oh, Kristen got it in the chat for how do I get to my review requests? Thank you, Kristen. All right, so that's tactic number 2. Let's move on to tactic 3. And this is about thinking about using coupons or discounting. How are you building your loyalty program? And this can be a really tricky one for a lot of brands where you want to start a loyalty program, but it can feel a little bit overwhelming. Where do I start? What are my actual margins? What type of discounts should I be offering? Where am I going to actually drive more revenue versus potentially interrupt revenue? So what you want to think about doing is to look at those margins and to think about what can I give a little to get a lot. And Kitsch is a good example of this. If you go and explore their rewards launcher, they have a few different types of coupon offerings, everywhere from 5 up to 20% off. And when a customer uses these discounts, you'd think that one of the main concerns would be that the discount would make the order value go down. If I'm giving $10 off a $50 purchase, does that mean that all of my purchases are suddenly going to only be $40? What we found is that this is really not true. Customers who are using discounts are more likely to purchase more items in a single order and to spend more on that order. So for Kitsch, that meant a 50% uplift in basket size for customers who are in the loyalty program who end up actually using that discount code, and a 30% uplift in AOV. So if it's a customer who traditionally before had, I don't know, they purchased 2 items, they had that silk pillowcase and they had a shampoo bar, all of a sudden they're purchasing 4 items because of that discount code. It triggers this kind of like sale mentality almost that you can leverage. And so you can really replicate this in your own loyalty program by playing around and testing with different incremental coupons or discounts. You can also tie it to your VIP tiers. And so just give it a think about what sort of behavior that you want to be awarding points for too. Kitsch is a really good example of a brand that rewards customers with points for a variety of engagement tactics. That's celebrating a birthday, it's posting that photo review, sharing that video, liking them on social media. What that does is it gives your customers or your leads who might not be ready to make a purchase an opportunity to still participate and kind of collect those points so that ultimately they can make that purchase and afford to too. So those are all of our examples from Kitsch. And I will move next into my almost second final one, and that is my loyalty tactic to turn your ambassadors into referrals. So this one is kind of a hot tip. You can recreate this on any stamped loyalty plan, including the free tier. So everyone on this call should consider how you can implement a referral program before the holiday season. You want to take advantage of those new customers, take advantage of that traffic that you're going to get in. And referrals are really going to be your lowest cost acquisition channel. So if you, after this, go and measure your cost of customer acquisition and you find that it's really high and you're thinking about ways to decrease that, think about a referral program. I'm going to show you Lilac Street as an example. Lilac Street are a stamp customer. They use this for reviews and for loyalty, and they're really focused in on referrals. This is an example of their loyalty landing page, which you can see is absolutely beautiful. They're a lash extensions brand. They have really strong branding. They have a really strong brand presence, and they're really focused on social media, influencers, affiliates too. So having this clarity in terms of visuals, in terms of copy is really important to them. And they've done that really exceptionally in their loyalty program. As you're looking at this page, if you want to replicate it, you likely will need to use a developer or an agency. If you're not up to snuff with your CSS and your custom coding, we can always put you in touch with an amazing agency, but we also have some great out of the box options that's stamped for you to use too. And so with a referral program, what you're doing is giving your existing customer a discount when they refer a purchase to a new customer. And it benefits everyone. That existing customer gets 10% off of their next purchase. And the new customer actually gets a discount off of their first purchase, or a dollar value off of their first purchase. And it's a bit of a customer retention or a stickiness flywheel, you could call it, because the experience for the existing customer is really positive. They get to see that their word is valuable, they get to share something that they love, and they get that discount off the next purchase. And then the experience for new customers is to start with a word of mouth referral, which feels like you're talking with a friend, right? Someone is referring this to you, you're more likely to pay for it. And then they're really starting off that relationship with your brand on a strong foot. They received a discount, they got to see your product, they read through all the reviews. They're actually more likely to become refers in the future. And so Lilac Street really promotes this program across all of their channels. I think that's one of the most important things when we're thinking about loyalty programs and referral programs, is that they're not a set it and forget it tactic. They're something that you want to implement and to embed into your overall marketing strategy, so that it can really get as much participation as possible. For Lilac Street, the result has been that 5% of their overall revenue really comes from referrals. So again, this is a super easy way for you to get started with a loyalty program, to drive down that customer acquisition cost and to improve your customer lifetime value. And I am coming up on time here, so I'm going to turn it over to John really quickly so he can talk through mobile. But what I'm going to mention first is that Stamped and Tapcart do have an integration. So if you're using a mobile app as a part of your e-commerce strategy, you should be using the same optimization logic that we just chatted about for reviews. So you want to think about how you're showcasing product imagery to reduce scrolling, to reduce moving around and too much organic exploration. You want to really build out that product page to focus on what is the customer looking for and what will support their buying journey. And then you want to embed social proof along the way that helps them to make decisions. That's exactly what the Stamped and Tapcart integration does. So I will hand it over to you, John.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tila. Well, I'm sharing my screen, which I will do here in a second. Let's see. First, if I could just kind of summarize a lot of what Tila said to kind of further tie it in to the Tapcart conversation. It looks like I'm unable to share my screen at the moment. Yes. It seems like brands should really start to think about retention throughout the entire customer journey, not just for the bottom of the funnel, most loyal customers, right? So ensuring you have search and merchandising power, you have the personalization data, and also the social proof, or the reviews and testimonials that are obviously being powered by Stamped throughout the experience. Is going to translate to customers ordering from you time and time again. All right, I think I'm able to share now. Excellent timing. Cool. So to really piggyback on what Tila talked about, a lot of what was discussed is the top of the funnel, right? The pre-sale optimization tactics, the middle of the funnel, getting that first purchase through social proof. Would really like to talk about your most loyal segment, right? The segment that you would qualify as your top 25 to 30%, right? That VIP segment. And Tapcart, if you're unfamiliar, is a mobile commerce solution exclusively for Shopify and Shopify Plus brands. So we work with about 3,000 leading brands from LSKD, Chubbies, Fashion Nova, and plenty of others that we'll talk about here in a minute, to be able to optimize their mobile commerce traffic, which as we'll see in a second is the lion's share of traffic where customers are shopping, and being able to get them into a stickier channel where they can not only find what they need to find, an intuitive UI that just makes sense, but also unlocking push notifications, which is an incredible third prong of the owned marketing flywheel. So just to give a little bit of table setting here, mobile is where your customers are, right? We're seeing that on average, about 80% of e-commerce traffic is coming from a mobile device. You might be saying to yourself, wow, that's a crazy high number. And yes, it is. For some of our brands, it might be a bit less, around 65 or 70. For some, it's even higher, around 85%. I was just talking to a merchant here in Chicago at a dinner that I was at 2 nights ago, and she said that 85% of her traffic was coming from mobile. And why this is important is because not only are we seeing that more customers are shopping on mobile, but the total worldwide mobile users has increased twofold. The spend has increased 1.5 times, and the amount of time folks are spending in app versus browser has gone up as well. And if you think about it, this is pretty intuitive, right? We wake up, our alarm clock isn't an app, right? This morning I walked to the gym. I used Spotify. I used SoundCloud. That was, both in an app. I checked into Equinox also via an app. So it's funny that we use an app for everything else on our phone, but we rely on a mobile browsing experience to engage with our customers, right? And ultimately, one thing that we've learned over the past 7 years since we've been in business is that selling on mobile on a mobile browsing experience is quite difficult. It's a non-signed in experience, right? So automatically personalization is out the window. There's lots of form fields. Oftentimes it's easy for folks to abandon their cart because they're on their phone, right? They're in a pretty easily distractible space where they're getting Slack notifications, they're getting a text from their son or their mother, and oftentimes it can lead to a low conversion rate, right? So talk about an opportunity. If we have almost 80% of your traffic coming from mobile, Tapcart is able to unlock a mobile engagement platform, right? A retention magnet, if you will, inside of a dedicated mobile app, so that you can not only optimize the shopping experience, but see a 2 to 3x lift in the number of times that folks are coming back into the app as opposed to a mobile browser. And there's a lot of reasons for why that's the case, right? Branded messaging, having an opportunity to be on the lock screen. I know on the new iPhone, it's truly never off, right? So if I was to get a Princess Polly notification, even though I might not be able to check it right this minute, it's going to be sitting right there. It's going to be top of mind for me. And so when we talk about being top of mind and getting folks to convert after that first initial purchase, being able to have a mobile app where you can leverage push notifications is an incredible way to be able to do so. Tapcart works with brands across the entire funnel. So some of our larger verticals are fashion and apparel, health, beauty and wellness, food and beverage, home goods, and so on. If you think about anything that has a high repeat purchase opportunity, or those that have a deep SKU catalog, those are going to be incredible fits for us, and where we're really going to be able to hit it out of the park and be able to see a lot of incremental value in your most loyal segment. That's what it's all about here. We're talking about the very bottom of the funnel, your highest loyalty, 30%. If we're able to get more value from those customers, that's exactly what we're talking about here. And to piggyback off what Thilo was mentioning in terms of our embedded experience for Stamped and Tapcart, so we're able to embed relevant reviews throughout the customer journey. So if you're shopping for a beige jumpsuit, or if you're considering what particular foundation is going to be good for your skin tone or your skin type, this is where you can really start to get a feel for how the shopping experience on site could be fairly similar to what the shopping experience in app is as well. So not only can you leverage social proof and reviews throughout the customer journey while they're shopping, but you can also ask for a review from your customers as well, as you can see in this example here. So incorporating reviews, obviously leading to an increase in engagement and conversion, and then being able to leave that social proof right there as another opportunity to increase the number of reviews that you're getting. So if for some of the brands that mentioned that they're only asking for reviews maybe once or twice, consider how a mobile app might be an incredible way to make sure that you're getting those reviews in app as well. And talking about kind of how we think about mobile apps and some of the interesting ways that customers are being able to leverage them. If you think about your mobile site, right, or sorry, if you think about your desktop site, your website, that's a catch-all for all customers across every segment, right? So whether you're a first-time customer, you're just browsing, you've heard of the brand from a friend, but you're not really sure, all the way down to your most loyal customer, your website has to be a catch-all. If you think about your mobile app, it is pretty much dedicated towards your most loyal customers, right? Those that are excited to engage with the brand, right? We think about community, we think about content. Those that are looking to shop with you time and time again, they're subscribing to push notifications, right? Especially for those that are already leveraging, a Klaviyo of the world. You can manage your Tapcart instance, or you can manage your push notifications for Tapcart right inside of Klaviyo as well. So as you're managing your email, your SMS, and now your push notifications for your retention marketing flywheel, that can all be done in one platform too. So all of our systems work really well together, Stamped, Klaviyo, and Tapcart, so that you can run your business really effectively to be able to have a pretty stand-up retention marketing program. And in terms of how we're incentivizing folks to download the app to begin with, there's plenty of really interesting things that we've done here that we've seen a lot of success with. I already talked about the exclusive content or community, right? There's access to early or new products. We have some customers or brands of ours that are doing exclusive products that are in app that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. If you're an omni-channel store and you have brick and mortar and direct to consumer, you can even leverage the app to be able to unlock certain discounts, right? So you're taking that casual in-person shopper that may or may not be engaged with you on any sort of other owned marketing channel like email. And you're saying, if you download the app, you can get 10 to 15% off your purchase today. And now you have that person in a stickier channel where you're able to bring them back into the fold time and time again. So it's really about being able to get more from those customers and being able to have an even stickier place for those most engaged customers of yours. Wanted to highlight a case study here. I think this is a really good example of what I'm talking about in terms of like incrementality. And I wanted to highlight Primitive Skate because they're a mutual customer between Stamped and Tapcart. So here's a look at their 90-day performance. So they saw Tapcart as an opportunity to reach their dedicated audience without having to go through a middleman. And when I talk about that, if you think about creating a mobile app, 6, 7 years ago, it was a very expensive process. You had to work directly with an agency. And oftentimes it was a little bit cost prohibitive. And it turned certain brands off from thinking that they could be a good fit for a mobile app. Tapcart's been able to really democratize mobile apps in the sense that we work with the true enterprise brands, the Chubbies, the Fashion Novas of the world, but we also work really incredibly well with the emerging mid-market brands as well. And so by being able to work directly with us, they were able to get their app off the ground in 21 days, and the turnaround time. So 9 to 12 months in the older way, working with Tapcart only 21 days in terms of getting off the ground. And their goal was to grow their audience with push notifications being the core bedrock there, so they can market and engage them however they wanted, right? That owned marketing power. So the 90-day success story here after Primitive Skate launched their mobile app is that their total revenue increased by 112%. This is obviously an entirely new sales channel. And they're obviously seeing a lot of this come from the increase in session conversion rates. So I mentioned the idea of incrementality. What we're also seeing is that the conversion rate in app versus the conversion rate on mobile web is substantially improved as well, right? It's a lot about what we talked about earlier in terms of the lack of personalization and the lack of ease of being able to check out. With Tapcart, you're able to leverage whatever payment methods that you would like to offer. I'm a big Apple Pay user. I've used it probably 3 times today already. And so being able to easily leverage Apple Pay in app really creates that opportunity to convert without having to enter in your credit card information or all those other things that are a bit time sensitive. So in terms of the in-app conversion rate versus mobile, again, almost 2x change in conversion rate there. And then the in-app revenue increase versus mobile, 1.6x. So an incredible example here of what we're able to do for a fashion and apparel brand. And again, with over 200 shared customers between Tapcart and Stamped today, both of our teams are really well equipped with how to get this up and running and get you optimized and ready for the upcoming holiday season. So wanted to make sure we had some time for a Q&A. I saw some chats rolling, haven't had a chance to take a peek there, but maybe let's take a peek at some of those.
Yeah, we had one come through that I think we could talk through live. So the question is, how do you use past reviews on a new product launch? And this is actually a really interesting use case of a very common Stamped feature. So it's really common to group reviews together. Say you have a product catalog that has a dress in 10 sizes and 4 colors. You're probably going to want to group all of the reviews for all of those different products, which technically would be 40 products at that point together, so that under each of those different variants on the product page, we're seeing all of the reviews from all of the products. The way that you can use this strategically, say you're doing a product launch of a new color of that dress, is that you can group that using the Stamped product groupings feature. And then when you do the launch, you have those reviews embedded as well in advance. The other way that some people will use stamped loyalty is to do kind of like a pre-release or an early launch of a product just to their loyalty program customers or their VIP tier customers and collect reviews on that product just for that special group. So that's kind of two ways that you can either use product groupings to have reviews and ratings on a new product when you launch, or to use your loyalty program to kind of soft launch a product, get reviews, get feedback, and then to launch it with reviews embedded already.
Great. It looks like Amy has a question here. She asked, when you download the app, do you download Tapcart or do you search the brand name? So you 100% search the brand name, right? This is your opportunity to have your imagery in an app, which I know we talked about all of the real qualitative benefits, but whenever you are able to actually see your brand appified, it is a really special opportunity. And our team actually takes the initiative to create all of your branding and do an app design for you during the sales process as well. So, most e-commerce brands, they don't even mention Tapcart anywhere, right? So it's effectively like you've launched your native app, except Tapcart's obviously your partner to be able to do so. So yeah, when you're inside of the App Store, you'd be searching for your brand. And then in terms of pricing, I think Tila mentioned the pricing page there. Yep. So we are effectively a SaaS pricing model. So it really just depends how many integrations that you'd want to leverage. We have a suite of integrations, to your point, Amy, about wanting to use your tech stack and wanting to have systems that talk together. We work with all of the major tech stack players. So we're directly integrated with Klaviyo. We have direct integrations with Gorgias, with Rebuy, with Recharge, obviously with Stamped. So odds are, whatever your tech stack that you're leveraging, you'd be able to embed that directly inside of your Tapcart app as well.
And that is a part of our integration that I wanted to highlight for y'all today, is that right now Stamped Reviews integrates with Tapcart. We are launching an updated loyalty product in the next couple months, which we are thrilled. We're excited about. It has better UX. It's easier to function. There's new features that are being launched too. And a fast follow to that will be a Tapcart and Stamped loyalty integration too. So you'll be able to manage your loyalty program, which assumedly are your customers that are going to be in your mobile app anyways via your Tapcart mobile app. I'm really excited about that one once it launches.
Likewise. Any other questions on the mobile commerce or on the Tapcart side? I know it might be a bit newer to some, but would love to use this time to answer any questions that folks had if there was any interest.
I have a question for you, John. So you highlighted a few apps that you've worked on or that Tapcart has worked on. Are there any recommendations that you would give to this group of ones that they should go and download afterwards to explore, to look at as examples? What are your very favorite ones to highlight?
Yeah, I think there's three that come to mind. So one is Aviator Nation, really cool brand based out of Santa Monica. They're actually right near our office. They've been a longtime customers of ours. They have a wonderful app there. I'd say Fashion Nova is another one just because of the extensibility. Like they've really leaned into what is possible inside of the app, and they've done an incredible job of leveraging and optimizing, a whole lot inside of the app. So I would definitely check out those two in particular. And then if you want to get a feel for a mutual customer, Primitive Skate, like we mentioned, is a Stamped customer as well. So you can go in and see what those reviews look like embedded inside of the experience as well. Thanks, Tila.
Thanks. I will definitely be downloading. I have the Primitive Skate one. I'm going to check the Fashion Nova one and the Aviator Nation one too. Awesome. Any other questions from the group before we give you a little bit of time back in your day? We wrapped up a little early here. Chat's looking pretty cool. Nothing. That's all right. If you have questions afterwards, you can follow up with us. You have our emails from the invite. We're going to be sending follow-up emails too. And John, if you can move to the next slide pretty quickly. We are offering kind of 2 tandem partnership deals too. So 2 months free either way. If you're a Tapcart customer and you want to try out Stamped, we're all going to offer you 2 months for free. And if you're a Stamped customer, you want to explore TapCart, then you're also eligible for 2 months free. Our follow-up email will have instructions on how to take advantage of that offer and who to reach out to get started. So thank you all so much for your time today. This was a phenomenal webinar, John. I always look forward to learning from you. I tried Apple Pay this weekend for the very first time because of your recommendation. Thank you
There
so
we
much.
go.
Thank you everyone for attending and for your amazing questions in the chat. Super fun. Really looking forward to partnering with you all and running some more webinars in the future. Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.